It's the Mini! What's up guys, welcome back to a brand new video. My name is Richie and today I'm doing a kind of Flossy Carter, Zollotech DankPods type video where I'm sitting behind the camera because I don't look very good and I'm just here to talk about some tech. So yep, this is the iPhone 12 mini. As you can see, it's very small. It is a really cute, really awesome little iPhone and I thought I'd do a little bit of a comparison between this and the big boy 12 Pro Max. This thing is huge. And kind of what do you get when you buy a smaller iPhone that you sacrifice with the bigger one? Now, the first question you're probably asking is, why did you buy two iPhones? Why did you buy a mini and a max? Let me go ahead and unlock these. Well, frankly, the answer is because I'm an idiot. But also because I was very intrigued by the mini because, you know, of its size. First of all, I've never actually had a small iPhone before. First iPhone I had was an iPhone 6s Plus, and, you know, I've just had the plus size or the max phones since then. And also I was very curious about how the usability is. Like, what is it like to use a smaller iPhone in the age of massive phones like this? As well as how do they pack in all of the internals, because this is running the same A14 Bionic chip as this guy, and you know, performance is very similar, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a few moments. But yeah, I suppose we'll start off with build quality, and I mean, both of these iPhones are built fantastically, even the little mini phone, and as you can see, it's very solid. It feels the weight is appropriate for the size. Aluminium rails are really nice. The glass, this one doesn't have the frosted glass back, but this really lovely green color, which I really like. I'm a sucker for green. I really wanted the green iPhone 11, but I never got that, so I thought I'd grab the green mini. It doesn't show as many fingerprints on the back as you can see there. Not as fingerprinty as the stainless steel. I don't know if you can see that, but this is a fingerprint magnet. So it's kind of nice having the anodized sides, I should say. But yeah, it feels very appropriate for the size. It's built very well. Obviously this phone is a lot heavier because it is bigger, and the stainless steel and the glass and all that. Both models have ceramic shields, so the front glass is going to be as durable, but the back glass, that's a bit of a different story. So you definitely want to go ahead and get a case. Something else that's fun, this is my 12 Pro Max leather case. Let me it does the little MagSafe thing, and it actually holds. Oh, kind of. So yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, definitely get a case if you don't want to break your little mini or even max device. Now, onto the displays. Both of them are Super Retina XDR displays. They are both incredibly amazing, very sharp, very detailed, very color accurate. This mini actually has the most pixel dense display out of all the iPhones this year. I think it's sitting at around 470 something, whereas the Max would be at around 450. And I mean, you're not going to notice that obviously, but fun fact, you're not going to notice 20 extra PPIs on the mini. Like I said, both displays are incredible. The Pro models would get a little bit brighter because they have 800 nits of brightness compared to the 600 nits of brightness when in standard lighting or in standard conditions, but when you're viewing HDR, that's when they can get up to the 1200 nits. If we go into settings, like you can see the white backgrounds, they look very similar. And then I'll also bring in the XS Max, which is slightly different. These 12 displays are actually a little bit warmer due to the color calibration and all that. I think these displays are fantastic, so you can't go wrong, and I'm glad that Apple went with OLED for all iPhones. Now onto the more practical aspects, the notch. Let me pull up settings again. If you look at the notch, they're actually very similar in size. I think the mini is slightly smaller by probably a millimeter, but the space on the sides of the notch, there's a big difference there, obviously. So there is still room for your time and your signal bar and your icons and stuff, but it's just not as much room. So this gives you the illusion of having a more borderless, bezel-less display on the Max. Now, the other main concern is the keyboard, and I'm just going to pull up an empty message so I don't incriminate myself. Don't want to put anybody on blast. But as you can see, the keyboards get quite a bit more width on the Max. So what that means, it basically just makes it easier for you to hit the letters when you're typing. So type in the quick, not the quick, the brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. And that feels very natural to me because, you know, it's a bigger screen. I'm used to the bigger phones and being able to hit all the individual letters. Now, on the Mini, obviously you have a smaller screen, smaller letters, but let's give it a go. Oh, we'll click in the text box this time. And it's actually just as accurate. Maybe one mistake, but that was very quickly corrected by Apple's autocorrect. And I think that kind of shows off the power of the A14 Bionic is to actually detect on which letter I'm pressing and also quickly intervene when I do get something wrong. So I'm able to actually type correctly on both of these models, and yeah, the iPhone keyboard is actually quite brilliant. If I were to do the same thing on even like a big Galaxy Note and type, I would not be as accurate, or even a smaller Android. Android keyboards are just hopeless, but if you are concerned about the keyboard on the Mini, you shouldn't be because they are brilliant. And also, ever since iOS 13 was a thing, you do have the swipe functionality, so you can just do that, and it's a lot easier to manipulate this one-handed, and you can, you know, obviously reach all the corners of the device compared to the Max. So if I were to type in or swipe type, it's hard to kind of reach. I have to hold the phone at like an angle and balance it with my pinky, whereas this one I can just kind of grip and pick up and, you know, do my thing. But yeah, if you're worried about the keyboard on the Mini, don't be. Apple keyboards are fantastic. Now onto the cameras. So both of these phones have different camera systems. As you can see, the physical size of the Max camera is quite a bit larger because it has larger sensors and it is a bigger phone. It also has that LiDAR sensor, but this has the same camera system as the 12, and I unfortunately don't really have any examples for you, but honestly, both of these cameras are going to be brilliant in good lighting conditions, especially when you're outdoors and you've got the sun. The only real part where the 12 Pro camera excels is with that LiDAR sensor in portrait mode, as well as night mode and getting focus, as well as adding an additional telephoto lens if you were wanting to zoom in compared to just being able to use digital zoom on this one. Either way, the cameras are brilliant. They are fantastic on both in ideal lighting conditions. You don't lose anything between the models, but you do gain things as you go up the lineup. And I'll probably talk a little bit more about that in my actual review of the 12 Pro Max. Now, the big one is battery life with the iPhone 12 mini. So if I go into settings and go into battery, let's just go off of the last few days. So this is the day where I actually use the mini full on, and I'm actually using this as like a work phone, so I'm using Outlook, Teams and all that, a little bit of streaming. So let me see if I can pull up the same day on my 12 Pro Max. So I was using the phones relatively equally. This was a Friday. So these were the battery usages on both of the phones. So I used them for about give or take maybe 3.5 hours each. The mini used about 2/3 of its battery, whereas the Max used about half, and I use the Max a little bit more as well. So yes, this can last you through the day if you're just doing relatively basic tasks, so you know, replying to emails, doing a little bit of social media, checking the weather, your calendar, taking a few photos. I think you'll be okay for the day, especially if you've got a charger next to you. The Max is the one where you can kind of forget and use it as much as you desire and still have enough battery left over. So if you're doing those same basic tasks on this one, you can probably nurse this to about a day and a half. But if you're a bit more intense, if you're taking lots of video, if you're streaming stuff, if you're constantly scrolling through a busy Instagram timeline, playing some games, this will definitely get you through the day. I would say probably I could get 7 to 9 hours of screen on time with this one. This one I could probably get maybe 4 to 5 hours of screen on time if I really stretch the battery, which is almost the same as my XS Max, because this battery was okay, but oh god, don't you just hate when you do those accidental screenshots? Relatively similar. I'd say the battery life on this is similar, but it's between a 10 and a XS Max, what you'd get there. So probably a XS. It's not great. Let's be real, obviously the physical size is going to impact that, and by going for a bigger phone you get a bigger battery, and there's just no getting around that. But I think when Apple releases their smart battery case or MagSafe battery, whatever they're going to do this year, this will definitely get you through a day and a bit, or if you're near a charger. That's just one of the sacrifices you make when you go to a smaller device. Now, on to the last thing, and that is performance. And surprisingly or surprisingly not, I don't notice a massive difference between the two. There literally is no difference between these devices when it comes to performance. As you can see, they unlock very easily, no hiccups, no lag. Opening apps is super quick, trying to open apps that won't incriminate me. I really say that a lot, but you know, I don't really do too many suspect. Yeah. Then again, opening apps is super quick, it's very responsive, apps stay in memory. A little bit more on this one because this has 6 gigs of RAM, so that's obviously a given, but they have the same chip, they have the same neural engine, computational photography, and all the things that make the 12 lineup incredible. One thing that I will note is that the Mini does get warm if you're doing a bit more intensive multitasking, or if you're doing some more intensive tasks. So say if you're scrolling through a massive timeline with photos, and then you're switching and you're streaming music as well at the same time, watching YouTube videos, or if you're recording video or playing games, this one will get a bit warmer than the 12 Pro Max. But because the phone is smaller, it has less thermal efficiency, that kind of thing. And then you get better thermals with the bigger phone because it's bigger, there's more places for the heat to go. But that's just one little drawback of the Mini. But if you are buying this phone, I really doubt that you're going to be taking it to the max every single day. That's just not what this phone is for. But yeah, bottom line is, they're both great performers, and there's no complaints at all with the performance. Apple's got so good with the chips in their phones, and as you can see now with the M1 Max that are just blowing all the Intel Max out of the water, Apple Silicon is the truth. So I suppose I'll end with some concluding thoughts, and I really like the Mini. I thought this phone would be a bit weird, like I'd use it like just for a laugh, but it actually is a phone that I can picture myself using. Now, if I had to choose between these two phones, obviously I would grab the 12 Pro Max just because I prefer having the extra battery life. I do like the bigger screen so I can see more of my content, and I do like having the extra functionality of the camera. I want to be able to have the best camera in my pocket to capture the moment. But that being said though, again, this phone is no slouch at all. The only impediments really is the battery life. But if you are looking for a small iPhone, or maybe even a second phone, or if you've got a big Android phone or a big iPhone and you need something a little bit smaller, this is definitely a go. I would totally look into buying one of these phones because they are really cool. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. What do you guys think? Are you Team Mini or are you Team Max? Let me know in the comments below. If you did enjoy this kind of content, be sure to give the video a like, and also subscribe for some more iPhone and Apple and tech related content. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.